everybody, Jazz here and welcome back to the channel. Today, as you can see from the title, I am bringing you a mukbang, whatever you want to call it, and a story time. And my light just died. But let's go ahead and get into the video. So the story time that I am bringing to y'all today is a story of how epilepsy changed my life. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Oh, disclaimer, if you hear like something blowing or anything like that, that's my air conditioner going on and off. So yeah, but let's get into the video. So first, I am going to let y'all know what I'm having for dinner tonight. First of all, it's leftovers, okay? And I am a sucker for leftovers. So I got some leftover salad with some salmon in it, and I have my little small pork chop that was left of the pork chops that I cooked. You know, I baked them. Yeah. And I got some mango pineapple or mango peach juice. It's by Minute Maid. Top tier. Yes. So yeah, that's what we're having tonight. So if this is your dinner time, go ahead and grab you a snack or grab your dinner and come on, get comfortable, because this is like just gonna be a little chit chat, okay? Basically, epilepsy is a disorder where, well, I'm gonna give y'all the term that's on the internet. I'm gonna give y'all that first. It says epilepsy is a disorder in which nerve cell activity in the brain is disrupted, causing seizures. Epilepsy may occur as a result of a genetic disorder or an acquired brain injury such as trauma or stroke. Now, some common warning signs, causes, effects, yada. We'll get to that later. But we're basically focusing on how I got epilepsy and how it impacts me to this very day. So, my journey with epilepsy began almost a decade ago. Yeah, almost 10 years ago now. First, I'm 28 now. I started having seizures at the age of 15, 16. So I was what, a junior going into senior year, or sophomore going into junior year, something like that, when everything first started. I had my very first seizure at home. And just go ahead and put that out there. All of my seizures that I've had up until a certain point had been at home, and they were while I was sleeping. So in the middle of the night. Basically, one night I probably came home from school doing my normal routine, and you know, got ready for bed, things like that, and went to bed. Wasn't thinking I was gonna have a seizure or nothing, but I woke up in the middle of the night one night because I'm like, why is my mama still up making all this noise, knowing doggone well I gotta go to school in the morning? Anyway, I wake up and it wasn't my mama that I saw. First of all, it wasn't my mama I saw. It was a male in a uniform, and I saw my mom at the peripheral of my eye, standing by my doorway. And my instincts, just like anybody else's instincts, would be to jolt up and take action, especially if you're scared. But I couldn't do that. Like, in my mind, I'm getting up very fast, but my body wasn't doing it. I'm like, what's going on? The man was a paramedic. And he was like, hey, Jazz, I don't mean to frighten you or anything like that, but I need you to be as calm as you can. I need you to lie down for me, because you're not going to be able to get up right now. And I immediately started crying, because fear overload is what happened to me. And what really made it worse is that my mom was standing over there in my bedroom door crying her eyes out because she was scared. She was like, I don't know what's going on. And let me rewind a little bit. It started with me hearing her in my doorway, and she was actually on the phone talking to the paramedics and letting them know how to get to where we were and all of this. And then when I came to, that's when I saw the paramedic. But he was like, hey Jazz, you just experienced a seizure, so I'm gonna need you to try to be as calm as you can and lie back for me while I get your vitals and everything like that, and then we're gonna be on our way to the hospital. I heard the word hospital, started crying again. I started boo-hooing that time because I'm like, am I dying? Am I dying? Just let me know right now, God. Am I dying? So fast forward a few minutes, we're on the way to the hospital. You know, they get me hooked up to all the fancy wires and all that, yada yada yada. And we get to the hospital and they're like, hey Jasmine, we understand that you had a seizure, so we're gonna go over your vitals and everything, and then we're gonna get into more detail about what exactly happened. And I'm like, okay. Keep in mind, I'm scared as crap. And my mama ain't helping me because she was, bless her, she was, y'all, she was out of it, okay? But it's okay, mama. You stuck through it, girl. Yeah. So, when we're talking to the nurses and the doctors, they were basically like, Jazz, have you ever experienced seizures before? And I was like, no, I don't even know what a seizure is. So they went over what a seizure was, what causes a seizure, you know, things that triggers a seizure. And then like, have you been around a lot of flashing lights lately? I'm like, no. Have you been around a lot of unusual loud noises? I'm like, no. Have you been experiencing headaches and you really haven't been thinking nothing of them? I'm like, no, none of that has been happening. I did my normal routine. I went to bed and I woke up and y'all take me to the hospital. So I'm like, okay. Usually, if this is your very first time having a seizure, it may be a one and done type of thing. The thing was, they were like, sometimes people just be one and done. They don't even notice that they have a seizure. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just ready to go home and I'm tired. I just want to go to sleep. After running some tests and things, they didn't see anything. All my tests came back normal. Only thing that they saw was where the seizure started. But other than that, nothing was damaged from the seizure. They couldn't tell if I probably had been having them and it just never came out. Because later on, I did learn that you can have a seizure and it really not show. Like physically not show. You can be having it and you know you're having it, but nobody else knows you're having it. I'm like, okay. So, of course, when you have your very first seizure, you have to do that major follow-up with a neurologist. So they can really go into detail and figure out, was this really a one and done type of thing? Or do we need to monitor you, possibly get some medicines in your system and things like that? So we followed up with the neurologist. And to this day, I think I had one of the top neurologists it is. And of course, I still see the neurologist to this day. But he was basically like, well, Jess, with you being premature, that could have possibly been the reason why you had a seizure. And out of all these years, it's just now coming out. You could have possibly been having seizures while you were little and they just weren't showing or nobody was noticing them. And he was like, but we're going to say that you're on the safe side right now because you haven't had any more since that one from when you came to the hospital. So we're just going to monitor you and then we're going to follow back up within a few weeks and we'll go from there. So we do some tests and things like that. All of my tests came back normal the first time around. The EKG, the sleep test, all of that came back normal. So, okay, no medicine, no nothing. Here we are, probably a few months before it's time for me to graduate. no, before it's time for me to start senior year, I had to do the, I think it's the sleep test where they put all the plugs in your head and whatnot. At that moment, before I had to do the plugs and things, I was just like, oh, well, that was probably just one time thing. That's okay. But of course, my mom was still very cautious of everything. And when it was time to do the sleep test, I'm like, y'all finna turn me into a machine or something? Like, they putting wires all in my head. And they're like, so you're gonna have this little pack on you for like 24 to 48 hours. And if you want to, you can go back to school. I'm like, excuse me? Y'all finna send me to school with this pack that I don't know nothing to do. Of course, they told me what to do it and whatnot. But they're like, you're gonna send me to school with this pack and all these wires sticking out of my head. People gonna be walking around looking at me like something wrong with me. I stayed at home. We went back, did the follow-up. That test came normal. So I'm like, thank you, God. This was just a one and done type of thing. Okay, yeah, I was premature. So it finally came out. Wham, bam, thank you, man. I'm fine. So here we are, year or so, getting ready to graduate. I go to college. And I went to college locally. And I completed all 4 years. Still doing follow-up appointments. And I did have to take medication. But no serious medication. Did all 4 years of undergrad. Nothing at all. Perfect bill of health. Clean bill of health. I got ready to enroll in graduate school. And it was one of my top schools because of the program they had. I majored in social work. And I wanted to get my master's in social work. So, I chose Alabama A&M out in Norma, Alabama. Huntsville, but Norma, Alabama. So, here I am with my best friend. Hey, girl, hey. Enrolled in school, going about our day. And I'm in my top school, in the top program. I get this master's degree. Graduate, get licensed. Bam. Huh. Here we are. I'm working every now and then. Because, you know, I want a little extra cash. And I don't want to, you know, have to be calling my mom about, hey, can you send me some money for this and that, this year, yeah. So I got a little local job at McDonald's. But where I messed up was calling myself trying to work wee hours in the morning. Here it is, 6 months, 5-6 months, give or take, go by in classes in the middle of the semester, working, tired of working, so I took some days off, yada. This one day, I think I didn't have class that day, so I went to work instead. I got sick at work. I don't know why I got sick at work. I got nauseous, started, you know, all that. And so they sent me home. But my mom said, well, since you're feeling like that, maybe you need to go to the doctor or the urgent care and just let them check you out to make sure you, like, don't have a flu or anything like that. Because, you know, with a lot of new kids on campus, a lot of them probably don't have all of their shots, but they just have enough shots to get enrolled in school. So, I go to the urgent care. They give me a shot for the nausea, and they told me to go home, make sure I stay hydrated, and make sure somebody's around just in case I have a reaction to any medication. I go home, go to sleep, let my best friend know that I'm in my apartment, my student apartment, and my roommate at the time, I let her know that I was there too. I wake up, and my best friend come through the door, and she was like, Jazz, I've been calling you just to make sure you was okay. And I'm kind of disoriented. I see her coming down the hallway, but I'm like, okay, whatever. And she's like, girl, first of all, why are you on the floor? I'm like, what is she talking about? And the way I'm looking, of course, I'm still disoriented to what she's talking about. And then she stopped in the middle of the hallway. I remember this. She like, Jess, I know you ain't had no seizure. I'm like, I'm looking around like, dang, I done had a seizure. So she goes into panic mode, but she kept saying for me because I started worrying. She called the paramedics like she was supposed to, let them know where we were and what was going on, and she immediately called my mom. And thank you, Shani, till this day, for keeping my mom calm until she got where she was supposed to be. They not uploaded me. They loaded me into the ambulance to take me to the hospital, and Shani was gonna follow along. Apparently, I don't remember nothing because I guess I blacked out once I got in the hospital and once I got in the ambulance. Shani said that she was driving behind, you know, cruising, y'all just make sure she kept up. And then she said next thing she knows, the ambulance turned on their light and siren, and they hitting speed full force. And she was like, oh Lord, what's happening to my best friend? Y'all, she said she was speeding. She was drifting through that highway getting to that hospital to make sure she don't lose them, y'all. Shout out to you, girl. Shout out to you, okay? And once they got there, she said that she really couldn't take it because I was just out of it. I had a breathing thing on me. They had to put a tube in me to help me breathe. Cutting up all my clothes, pumping my chest and all that. And she was like, Jazz, I thought I was going to lose my best friend that day. And y'all, honestly, I really do think I traumatized my best friend. I think that whole experience traumatized her. And I'm so sorry, best friend, but that's part of the reason why you're still my best friend to this day. Because you stuck by when the most traumatic thing has happened. Shout out to you. So, I guess they finally got me stable. And she was there with me. She went back, you know, check on everything like that. And apparently I was still out of it because I'm thinking when I woke up, it's just a few minutes to possibly a few hours later because I'm pretty sure they doped me up to make sure I was stable and all that. Y'all, I wake up and it's dang near a week later almost. Like we're hitting on day 3, 4, okay? And I'm thinking it's 3, 4 hours, it's 3, 4 days. And as soon as I opened my eyes, I went into panic mode again because I'm like, what is this I feel in my throat? So they told me to relax about that. And I started looking around and I'm like, my best friend here. But once I squinted my eyes, I'm like, that's my mama. That's my daddy. That's my grandparents. And it was my boyfriend at the time. All of them came. And I'm like, oh Lord. I boo-hooed y'all. I was so scared. And because seeing all those people there, you automatically think the worst has happened. And in that moment, yeah, to them the worst did happen. So everybody came to check on me. And of course, you know, my mom was going to come by herself. So the doctors let me know that I didn't just have one seizure before they got there. I had multiple while I was in the ambulance. And I even stopped breathing. Y'all, when I tell you God, He is a worker, okay? He is a worker. I am so blessed. So they were going over everything. They were like, hey, Jazz, we're happy you finally woke up. We had to kind of stabilize you, so we know you were going to be out for a few days, but you just didn't want to wake up. So they started running tests and everything like that. And y'all, the seizures had got so bad to the point that when I was having normal conversations, my hands would start shaking, or my feet or my legs would start shaking. And I'm just having a normal conversation. It wasn't hurting or anything like that. I was just shaking, and I could see the polygraphs like doing all this. And the doctor was like, oh yeah, so you see this right here? While I'm talking to you right now, you think you feel calm, you're actually having a seizure. That's why your hands are shaking. And I'm like, wow. So, of course, you know, they had to run a whole bunch of tests on y'all. And that moment, I would say that's the first time I really, really saw my mom show, like, serious emotion. And it really had me worried. It had me scared because I'm like, is it over for me? Like, is this curable? Is this like, is this stopping me from doing everything completely? And once the doctor came in, that's when they officially diagnosed me as an epileptic. But what was crazy is the fact that I don't necessarily to this day have triggers that causes me to have seizures. But it was very clear at that moment that the thing that caused me to have a seizure was stress from working, from trying to work and go to class. And probably that medication that I took on top of the Tylenol that I took earlier that day did not mesh with the seizure medication that I was taking at that time. And it caused all this to happen. So I'm like, you're telling me that I overworked my brain so much that my brain said, forget this, and it shut down and rebooted itself. So I had to have the doctors tell me, is my life over? Yes or no? And fortunately, they were like, with the right medication, Jasmine, you are going to be perfectly fine. You are going to be able to live life to the fullest. But given that you just had a very major seizure after not having any for 4 years straight, we have to put you on some restrictions. And then my world came tumbling down. Basically, they put me on restrictions for a full year and a half. No work, no driving, no activities that will cause any type of stress, and the worst one, no school. I just plummeted at that point because here I am. I wasn't even thinking about my condition. All I heard was no school. Here I am in Alabama, and you're telling me that I have to leave school for a full year. So at first I was like, dang, I gotta leave school. But I wasn't necessarily fully bummed. So I'm like, okay, I can sit out for a year, recuperate, then just start back fresh. No. It was the middle of the semester, meaning too early and technically too late to pull out and start over fresh. And it was too late to complete classes fully. So I had to fully withdraw from school. And to this day, I think that caused a little depression in me. Because here I am at one of the top schools I wanted to go to. No, it's not like a big Ivy League school, but for my major, it was well known. And I've always said I wanted to go off at least once to experience college life. So why not do it for grad school? I had to leave school, and I was hurt. I was so hurt. But my mom had to make me realize that, Jazz, you are still here. You are alive. Just take the time you need to fully heal. Be blessed that you're still here. And we will make sure that you finish what you started. Was I hearing that at the time? Not at all. But I accepted it, and so it went back home. So now, here I am, back at home, not doing nothing, can't work, can't really go out with my friends. I really felt like my life was over. I know I was being dramatic, but that's what it felt like at the time. Here I am, having to be dependent about everything. And then, once I had all my follow-ups and everything like that, here it is, a year go by. I have a clean bill of health. I can slowly reintroduce myself back into the workforce or school. I chose work because with me having to withdraw, I'm going to have to pay that money back. Because, you know, this girl right here didn't really get nothing from financial aid, okay? So, I had to work. And I was very limited on what I could do at first. I had, like, double medication at that time. Expensive medication. I always had to be by somebody that knew what to do. And I just didn't like that. But I had to sit myself down and be like, Jazz, you're blessed to even be alive. Some kids, some adults could have had a seizure like you did, and that would have been the end of it. But God said, no, you're still going to be here, but you need to take it easy. So that's what I did. Once I got cleared from my doctor and my mom, at this point, I started looking back into school, and I decided to enroll in a local school to start back up my master's degree. And of course, I had to start all over from the beginning, like fresh start. I messed up because technically, with me having a diagnosis now, I'm supposed to let anyone know what's going on with me so they can provide any needed services. I'm thinking I'm big and bad. I'm like, I don't need that. I can learn just like everybody else. What I did not know and what I did not take into consideration is the fact that having epilepsy, it does affect your memory sometimes. So, I did not do well when I enrolled back in school. I could not really concentrate. I constantly had headaches. And I couldn't think as fast as I knew I needed to when it came to testing, and I couldn't think as much, and I couldn't sit in front of a computer screen for too long because something about the lights could possibly trigger another seizure, especially with me fresh out of just having several back to back. So I had to withdraw from that, and I just focused on work. And after I withdrew, I really started looking at how my life would possibly be. I never told anybody, but I really thought that with me having this condition, nobody's going to want to be around me but my family. Like, I'm not going to have any friends no more. I'm not going to be in any relationships, nothing like that. Like, my life is over. It's just going to be me. And I really felt alone, but I wasn't. I had amazing friends that stuck with me. My family was my backbone through this entire experience, and I really thank God for them, and I thank them for all that they did. Till this day, I will still let my mom know that I appreciate her. Yeah, she's my mom. She's supposed to do that, but all the expenses, all of the traveling, all the late nights, all the nights she couldn't sleep because she was scared something might happen again. So, but yeah, you know, every now and then I still tell my mom thanks for everything that she did, and I'm very grateful that she stuck by me, because I saw my mom almost hit rock bottom because she really just didn't know what to do. And she was worried that we wouldn't be able to afford the needed medication that I needed to help me with this. So, shout out to you, Mom, for winning Mom of the Century, okay? But, after a year or so later, after withdrawing and just focusing on work, I enrolled into Union University, which is another local school. Well, it was the school technically isn't local. It's in Jackson, Tennessee, but they had a remote campus. And at this time, this is when COVID came around, so I wasn't able to go in person which is actually good, but then again, it was bad because here it is, it's about to be an online course, and I'm not supposed to stay at the computer screen that long. However, it worked out perfectly, and I was eligible to enroll in the accelerated course, which takes right at a year, technically less than a year, about 11 months. The school was amazing. Classes were steady pace. The teachers were understanding, very helpful. And within 11 months, I graduated with my master's. And I am so happy. And shout out to my friends for instilling hope in me, because I really thought I was not going to finish what I started. And that's what really kind of threw me into a depression state, because one of the things I have a fear of is not being able to finish what I start. So the fact that I did that, yeah, I had the time of my life walking across that stage. Okay. But after that, we are basically here at current time now. I am working full-time in an amazing job, and I have all of my friends who still support me. My family still support me. They still keep an eye on me. They still be checking in every now and then, like, you still taking your medicine on time? Even my friend still texts me every now and then. She's like, I hope you don't take your medicine this morning, and I hope you taking it tonight too. And I'm like, yes, y'all, I am still taking my medicine, and I make sure I'm taking it on time, and I make sure I'm doing right. And yeah, like, I just wanted to bring this story time because when I look through social media, when I look on YouTube specifically, I don't see a lot of people that look like me sharing their story about epilepsy, and you know how it affected them. If I'm being honest, I was blessed to have the basic epilepsy. Yes, what I went through, what I currently go to, is very serious. This is a very, very serious condition, and it cannot be played with. But when you look around, when you see some reports, when you do the research, not many people survive after having episodes like that. Some people can be in their cars driving and just go into an episode. Some people are the type of epileptic to where they're constantly having seizures and they cannot do anything at all. They can't work. They can't feed themselves. They can't do anything like that. And I can. Which is why I truly say that I'm blessed, and I mean that. And I don't take it for granted at all. Because I could be that person that can't do anything for herself. Or I can just not be here at all. So yeah, I mean, that's my story of having epilepsy. Right now, like I said, I'm currently still working. I am living life to the fullest as much as I can while managing my stress and everything like that. I still hit up a few parties every now and then with my friends. We still go out, but I always make sure I have some sunglasses on deck in case them lights flashing a little bit too much for me. I still go to the movies. I still be up late at night, just not too late at night. I live a regular life now, and I have a regular job, and I have friends that still treat me. I have friends and family that still treat me like normal jazz. So if you're out there and you're dealing with what I'm dealing with, I am here to tell you that your life is not over. Just be very cautious about what you do, because this is nothing to play with. It's something to take very serious. Whether or not you have one and you're done, or you have them for the rest of your life. I've been seizure free for almost 5 full years now. But I still have to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do to make sure that I remain seizure free. I still take my medication on time. I still go to my regular checkups. I still check in with my mom, letting her know whether or not I'm having headaches that are not normal and things like that. I'm still doing all that, but I'm still able to have a regular life also. So, yeah, I mean, if y'all have any questions or anything like that about any roadblocks or just my life in general with having epilepsy, just leave me some questions in the comment section below and I will definitely answer them. Or we can make a part 2 to this and I can do a Q&A, and I'll actually set that up after this video goes live. I'll set it up on my TikTok, my Instagram, and my Twitter for y'all to ask me questions, and we can do a Q&A video about me and having epilepsy. So make sure y'all follow me on social media. I'm going to leave my name, and it's the same name for all platforms. But yeah, that's my life right now. That's my little transparent moment while eating my food. Y'all, this juice good. And actually, it's actually time for me to take my medicine. So I'm going to wrap this video up here. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I'm sorry to be all boo-hoo, yada, yada, yada. But I feel like it was necessary for me to have this sit-down video, just to let somebody know who's probably searching like I was. We're out here. We're living life. But we're doing it safely. And we're being realistic about everything we do. So, yeah. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. So, I'm going to leave y'all here. And make sure y'all give this video a big thumbs up. Leave me some positive comments in the comment section below. Leave me questions also. And like I said, once this video go live, I will set up a Q&A. Or you guys can just send me questions. And if I have enough questions, I'll do a Q&A video. And I'll make it a part 2. So, yeah. That's it for today. And I'll catch y'all next time.